Welcome back to the Peugeot, this ongoing build series where I have an EJ20 powered Peugeot 206 wide body. In the last episode I got the engine started. So now I need to bleed the water system. I have a Daly's Craig remote water pump which I need to bleed, and as you can see the radiator is now in the boot. I have a switch for the remote water pump. This will be the first time I've ran out the pump. If I plug the battery in as well, it will save me running the battery down while I'm priming the system. I have filled the engine and cooling system with as much water as possible. Next I need to start the engine, start the water pump, put the fan on full, and hopefully I can just keep topping up the water until it's bled. I don't know how rich it is running. I don't want to run it for too long. Steering's really nice now. Some heat coming out of the heater now. The expansion bottle is quite full now, so I have to keep an eye on that. You can hear all the new parts warming up. That's just the water that's overflown on the exhaust. You can see the expansion bottle is now completely filled up. As the radiator hoses rise almost to the level of the top of this bottle, I'm thinking I might have to lift it up slightly. Until I get a fuel pressure gauge on the regulator, I don't really want to run the car much more. And to fully bleed the water system, I need to run it for some time. My next port of call is to fully bleed the brakes, get the clutch pedal working, and then I can think about getting it on the ground. And ultimately, the engine needs to be tuned on a dyno, ideally. I now have the gauge for the fuel pressure regulator. I have had to unbolt the regulator from the mount on the intake manifold so I can get it into a position where I could fit the gauge and see the gauge. I now also have the correct vacuum line that comes from the intake manifold, so this should help it run better. I now want to see what the base pressure is when it's priming the system with the high flow pump running. I think on the stock WRX it's around 38-40 psi. That's the kind of number I'm aiming for. So already we're above 40. Stopped at about 52 psi, so I'm going to turn it down. So you can hear the note of the pump going up as I turn the fuel pressure down. So I've gone in between about 39 psi. We'll go for that. I have decided to take the plugs out just to check them. Lo and behold, it is running really rich. So I'll get the plugs cleaned up before I try another run. I'm going to have another go at setting up the wiper blades. There was a washer and circlip missing from this section, so instead of going down the road of trying to order them off Peugeot, I've made a custom washer and just found a circlip that fits. So I'll get this arm back on and see if we can run the wipers up and prevent them from clashing together. They are settling down much further once I've turned them on, so I'll take them back off and adjust them slightly higher than the marks on the windscreen, and then hopefully I can gauge it right. We can live with that. It's just about staying on the windscreen there, and there is just enough clearance between the two wiper blades. I will just make sure they're done up tight. So now I have a potential date with the dyno. I need to make sure all the brakes, clutch, everything is running properly. And I also need to sort out the mounting points to strap it down to the dyno. So I've just gone and made some holes in the diffuser. This will allow me access to mount some bracket onto the chassis, which the straps can attach to. I'll worry about the aesthetics later on. So I have the brakes bled, the clutch is bled, there is slight play on the pedal, but with the uprated clutch I'm not sure if that's the cause, or I might have to do another bleeding session at some point, but it should be enough to test it. I will check all the bleed points are tightened up. It's been a mad 4 or 5 days working away, so I've just got back to the car and just catching up with where we've got to. I have some more bits that have arrived in the post, some spigot rings for the wheels, so I don't have to worry about the stud snapping off. I have some toe straps to fit to the mounting points at the back where I drilled the holes in the diffuser, so I'll see if I can get those fixed on. I also have some repair of it for making the rest of the inner arch liner, so I need to get onto that as well. For the extended arch liner, I'm just using the same material that was used on the front bumper. I have just cut a strip to size and used rivets to attach it to the factory arch liner. My plan for extending the arch liner on this front edge is to use polycarbonate and rivet it straight to the factory liner. Therefore, it can stay as one piece, so if I need to take it off, it's a lot easier to install back on the car. I'm just going to rivet them together. Now the front arches are protected all the way around. If the car's going to be up and running on the dyno, I need to think about everything that could be a problem, like the brake lines rubbing on the inside of the arch. I'll just cable tie it up out the way so it's not touching the back. I've just put a circlip through the mount on the upright, as I can't find the original clips. I'm just going to check how clean the mass airflow sensor is. Yeah, needs a good clean. For the damping adjustment, I have 24 settings. So to start with, I'm just going to set it in the middle. I've wound it all the way in. I will unwind it 12 clicks. It's probably going to be too stiff, but at least I know I'm halfway, so I can make it stiffer or softer once the car's up and running.
11, 12. I have set it square front to rear. We'll see how we go on the first test drive.
I have now decided to get the engine up to temperature before I run out the drivetrain and then possibly drive it on its wheels. I'm happy there are no more coolant leaks. Now I'll remove some of the water and add a small amount of coolant. And this should help lubricate any seals internally.
Now we're going to double check and check the fuel pressure. It was sat at about 40, so I've just dropped it down to 38 psi. Now we have a clean map, hopefully it'll run better.
And why not try and start at the button?
Get the water pump fired up. I think the throttle cable needs adjustment. You see this expansion bottle is filling right up now. That could be a problem. This is a real issue. We have no temp either. We have a serious problem with the idle. Some oil or something on the exhaust and that's what's burning off there. The fuel pressure's staying good. And now I'm going to get the heater on.
So at least we got some heat into it.
I now have some serious cleaning up to do. So this is not working. Everything's pretty hot. Let's have a look under here. Yeah, smells pretty warm. We'll now let everything cool down. I'll check all the levels, then decide what to do about this expansion bottle problem.
So I'm not entirely sure why the temperature sensor's not working, or it's not getting a reading. This is probably as good a place as any to end this episode. Once I get the water problem sorted out, then I can think about running out the drivetrain and possibly go for a drive. I want to make sure everything is okay before I take it to the dyno. So we need to get the temperature sensor working, get the water problem fixed, and then providing all the drivetrain works, we're good to go. As always, thank you for following the build series. We look forward to taking this car out at Pugfest this year. It's on Sunday the 16th of July at Prescott Hill Climb. So hopefully see you there. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you very soon.